Philosophic theories regarding mind and will. In order to examine man's capabilities, we will first divide them up in as simple a way as possible. There is no need here to follow the philosopher's clever methods. I freely admit that Plato's opinion has the appearance of reason. There are, he says, 5 senses in man. He calls them instruments, through which common sense, which is a kind of general reservoir, pictures all external objects which are accessible to sight, hearing, taste, scent, or touch. Next, imagination discerns what common sense has pictured and appropriated. Then reason does its work by judging all these things. Lastly, above reason there is intellect, which contemplates with calm and steady gaze everything which reason turns over in its mind. There are thus 3 powers in the soul which have to do with knowing and understanding, and which for that reason are called cognitive. These powers are reason, intellect, and imagination. 3 other powers correspond to them, having to do with desire. These are the will, whose role is to desire whatever the intellect and reason suggest to it. Choler, which follows the prompting of reason and imagination, and appetite, which seizes the things imagination sets before it. Yet however true, or at least plausible, these ideas may be, there is no need to waste our time on them. They risk being of little help to us, and might greatly trouble us by their obscurity. We might instead cite the distinctions which others have made. Aristotle, for example, for whom the soul contains one part which is not itself rational, but which can be guided by reason, while the other part actually partakes of reason. Again, he states that there are 3 things from which all human actions derive: sense, intellect, and desire. Now our task is to speak in a way which all can comprehend, which is not the case with the philosophers. When they try to speak in simple terms about the soul, they divide it into 2 parts, intellect and desire. But they assign to each part a double function, declaring that there is a contemplative intellect which stops short of action, being concerned only to observe. This, according to Cicero, is what the word intelligence means. The other kind of intellect is practical. Once it has apprehended good or evil, it impels the will to follow or to shun it. In this category is included knowledge of the good life. In the same way, the philosophers divide desire into appetite and will. What they term will is when man's desire yields to reason. Appetite is when, throwing off the yoke of self-control, desire spills over into intemperance. Nevertheless, they still fancy that man retains the gift of reason, by which he is able to lead a well-ordered life. We, on the other hand, hold human reason to be corrupt, and therefore beg to differ from them.